If there's one thing you needed to know about me, I'd love to prank. Give me the opportunity and I'd prank just about anyone. Grandma, teacher, strangers, they were all fair game to me. I know for a fact that I got it from Mom. When I was growing up, we would always conjure up these elaborate plans to get Dad. We'd covered all the classics by the time I started first grade. The whoopee cushion was a huge favorite of mine. I quickly graduated to dropping bags of poop at the front door. I'd set them on fire, ring the doorbell, and run. It was so lit! I did it to my middle school principal once and got caught in the act. Yeah, I got grounded, but who cares? It was so worth it. As I got older, we moved on to bigger and better things. This one time, Mom's best friend had told her she was pregnant. The first thing that came out of my mom's mouth wasn't, "Oh my God, congratulations," like any other normal person would say. Instead, she asked whether she'd kept the positive test. Yeah, she said. It's still in the trash. It didn't take long for me to figure out what that evil genius was up to. We waited until Father's Day and wrapped it up in a little box with a fancy pink bow. That morning, I gave it to Dad as a gift. When he opened it, we both screamed, "It's a girl!" I swear I could barely keep it together, but somehow I did. My years of learning from the absolute best in the biz had taught me how to keep a straight face. Dad was trying to play it cool, but on the inside, you could tell he was freaking out. We kept it up the whole day until he started budgeting his salary and looking for cribs online. Then it began to feel cruel. I wanted to come clean, but Mom stayed strong. I think we waited till the next day to tell him. Harsh, I know. I'm sure things would have turned out differently if it really was Mom's test. Her and Dad got divorced a couple years later when she ran off with some younger guy. This time it was definitely not a prank. I guess she was always pretty heartless. I haven't spoken to her in a while now. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her for what she did, but I miss her a lot for sure. Me and Dad ended up moving to San Diego after he was relocated to manage some new factory down there. That's what he told me anyway. Looking back, he probably asked for the transfer to escape everything that was going on. I was all for it. The weather was sweet. I could hit the beach whenever I wanted, and the girls were insanely hot. It was a completely different world from Detroit. You could say I was making friends, the only way I knew how, of course. My thing at the time was switching cables in the school library and controlling other people's computer monitors to show porno. Yep, that was me. The class joker, always screwing around. While I was busy trying to get people to like me, Dad was making waves in San Diego dating scene. That's where he met Lita. I wasn't too sure about him dating another woman at first. Lita didn't have a job back then, and I was sure she was using him for his money. Still, it was obvious she made him happy. I hadn't seen him smile like that in a long time. Lita was actually pretty cool. Her daughter, Aisha, was one insufferable brat, though. I didn't want a loudmouth 10-year-old girl running around my house at the best of times. But when Dad broke the news that they were moving in, I completely lost it. No freaking way! They'd only been together a few months. I trashed the entire house that night. Not my proudest moment, although I gotta say it felt pretty good. I guess I needed to express myself in some other way than those dumb, stupid pranks. Lita and Aisha came to San Diego all the way from Malaysia. Apparently, Lita's ex-husband was super abusive, and when she tried to leave him, he kidnapped Aisha and took off. Went completely off-grid. The cops tracked him down to some harbor, about to catch a boat to Indonesia. The guy's in prison now, thank God, and Aisha didn't get hurt. Physically, at least. Anyway, Lita decided to make a new life for herself and Aisha in America. And here they were, my new roomies. Great. I'm just being a jerk. It turned out kind of great, actually. Lita was an awesome cook and would make all these amazing Malaysian dishes. I had no idea what they were most of the time, but damn, they were spicy. Aisha wasn't the obnoxious turd I thought she was. In the beginning, I think I just wanted to hate her. But when I caught her switching the salt and pepper pots on the dining room table, I knew we were going to be friends. Not the most original prank in the world, but there was something in her eyes that told me she was a natural-born prankster. So I took her under my wing, and we soon became a prolific and feared duo around the house, especially when Lita was around. We scared the living hell out of her almost every day. She was such a scaredy cat. It was around a year or so after they moved in that Lita and Dad got married. Everything was going great until Dad got in a massive fight with his boss at work. I still don't know what it was about exactly, but they had well and truly gone at it. Dad came home with a bust-up lip and a huge black eye and told us he'd been suspended indefinitely. I hadn't seen him so upset since Mom left. Each morning I'd leave for school with Aisha and he'd just be laid out on the couch in his sweats, watching Operation Repo on repeat. When we came home, he'd be in the exact same position, staring vacantly into the TV. We laid off the pranks on Dad for a while. The months went by and Dad hadn't heard anything from work about when he might be able to go back, so Lita got a job at a local grocery store to help out with the bills. This is where things started to get weird. One of the girls at the store told Lita that she could make some extra money through vlogging. If If your stuff got enough views, companies would pay good money to advertise their products through your channel. So yeah, that happened. The problem was, everything she taped, and I mean everything, was so damn boring. You're crazy, I told her. No one wants to see a sad Asian housewife singing along to Adele while she mops the kitchen floor. In hindsight, I think she could have been onto something there. I don't understand all you Gen Z kids, she'd say. I mentioned she could do a vlog about her cooking, you know, target an audience in her own age range. My recipes are secret, she barked back. I thought this was never going to work, but the thing is, it did, in a way that none of us could have ever imagined. Aisha and I just got home from school to the smell of Lita's beef rendang drifting out of the kitchen. I looked at Aisha to see if she wanted to pull a prank. It was the perfect opportunity. She just rolled her eyes and went up to her room. After her first year in high school, Aisha had gotten too cool for pranks. It was a little sad. I was losing my partner in crime. I, on the other hand, was still very much at large. I sneaked into the kitchen and found Lita vlogging by the stove. Aisha would have died if she'd seen this. Lita was speaking Malay at her iPad like some celebrity chef or something. It was hilarious. There was a fresh plate of rendang on the table behind her, and I thought it'd be funny to make it disappear. Plus, I was starving. I wolfed down the curry as fast as I could. Lita was oblivious until I screamed, "What the bean have you put in there?" In a matter of seconds, my throat was literally on fire. Tears streamed down my face. I had blisters on the inside of my mouth, and my lips were swelling up like balloons. It felt like my stomach was going to explode. "What's the matter?" was all Lita could say. "It burns!" My breath could have set the freaking house on fire. I dove into the fridge for milk and doused my entire face with the stuff. It was such a relief that I didn't even realize it was old and lumpy until about halfway through the carton. Then I hurled. It took 2 agonizing hours for the pain to go away, and the swelling in my lips didn't go down until the next day. Everyone was crying, laughing. Even Dad. That was good to see, even if it was at my expense. Lita had gone to the market earlier that day to find peppers to add to her rendang for a little extra heat. Those were her exact words. Apparently, the ghost pepper sounded like something her target audience would like to hear about. It's one of the hottest pepper in the world, guys, and she'd thrown 2 of them in there. In all the chaos of that afternoon, everyone seemed to forget that the iPad had filmed the entire thing. You can see where this is going, right? Yep, I went viral. In the beginning, it was just in Malaysia, and I guess the whole world had seen it. Everyone at school had. They had said I deserved it. I got a taste of my own medicine. After all these years of pranking, karma had finally come around to bite me in the ass. Instead of being the class joker, I was now the class joke. It was a totally different story for Lita, who claims to this day that she uploaded the video by mistake. In just a few weeks, it had almost 10 million views. Her account was getting more and more attention from advertisers, and she soon started to realize that maybe there really was money in this vlogging thing. All she had to do was torture us. The Lita devil was born. I thought I was a living terror, but Lita took things to the next level. She shaved Dad's head for Christ's sakes. She set a swarm of bees on Aisha, her only daughter. She drenched me in sewage water from the upstairs balcony. Sewage water! That wasn't even the worst of it. No, the worst was yet to come. The thought of it still gives me chills. She called it soup number 5. "Come on, just try it," she said as she thrust a spoonful towards me. "Is it spicy?" I muttered. "It's not a prank, I swear to God." Like I was gonna buy that. "Harry, it's just a new recipe. You're gonna love it." I took a cautious sip and waited as Dad and Aisha nervously watched on. God damn it, that soup was good. A few minutes passed and nothing happened, so I sat down and ate the entire bowl. The bitch had got me, and damn, she got me good. Let's just say I woke up the next day at full mast. Nothing out of the ordinary there. I thought I was a teenage boy. It happened all the time. Only this fine morning, it wouldn't go away. I tried everything to get rid of it, barring yanking it off. By the time I had to go to school, I was in a panic, and it was starting to hurt. I spent the whole morning with my boner tucked into my waistband, planning how I was going to get out of gym class. I wouldn't be able to hide it in my hockey shorts. I went to stash my kit in the bins behind the yard. No kit, no gym class, I figured. When I got there, Mr. Fredrickson was smoking a cigarette. I was done for. There was no way out of it now. I played almost a whole period of hockey with my heart on before I was sent off for playing with 2 sticks. The whole class was filming me and rolling on the floor with laughter. From then on, I was hard on Harry. I knew Lita and her soup number 5 were to blame for this, so I marched home and demanded to know what she'd done to me. The soup was a special recipe her family had carried down for generations. It was made from a freaking bull's penis and balls. It had been used for centuries to give the old men a raging erection. "How long does it last?" I yelled. "A day or 2. Or 2? Enjoy it while it lasts," she said, giggling like a little child. I was never going back to school, ever again. We were all sick of Lita's pranks. It felt like the whole world was laughing at us. I just wanted to disappear. Aisha and I begged Dad to get another job so she would stop making her stupid videos, but she was making too much money and having too much fun. It was only a matter of time before her antics got her into trouble, although none of us could have predicted what would come of it. Lita's first mistake was taking her pranks outside of the family. The second was targeting our neighbor, Mr. Bilsby. Not even I played pranks on Mr. Mr. Bilsby. He was a grumpy old man with nothing better to do than pick fights and complain. The guy was a big shot in real estate and had a bunch of money too, which didn't bode well for what happened next. Admittedly, the video was hysterical. Mr. Bilsby had to walk like someone out of a 1950s Western movie and wore these extravagant suits that must have cost a fortune. According to Lita, the plan was to put a huge dog poop in the middle of his driveway every morning and secretly film his reactions. Hopefully they'd get more and more crazy and hilarious as the weeks went on. Pretty good, I gotta say. Except Mr. Bilsby was on the phone and didn't even see the dog poop as he slipped right on it and went flying through the air, landing in a heap on top of the messy turd. His phone smashed on the ground, his briefcase spilled out everywhere, and his fancy suit was covered in poop. I've never seen anyone so angry. The veins were bulging out of his head and he was yelling and cussing like mad. It was so freaking funny. The third mistake Lita made was posting that video. The fourth, bragging about how she was the one that put the poop there. A few weeks after it went viral, Mr. Bilsby hit her with a lawsuit for emotional distress and assault. The accident had injured Mr. Bilsby's back, and he'd been harassed so much that he had to take time off work. He hired some of the best lawyers in the state and took Lita to court. Lita lost all the money she'd earned through her vlogging and was banned from the platform for life. We were finally free from all her pranks, but we could barely afford to eat. As if it couldn't get any worse, Dad found out that work wasn't actually going to take him back after all. The guy that replaced him was doing an exceptional job, apparently. What were we going to do? Lita's job at the grocery store didn't bring in enough for the four of us, and Dad was too depressed to apply for jobs. I had a brainwave. After the Soup No. 5 video went viral, everyone online was wondering what was in it, and a few guys hit me up asking where they could get a hold of it. Of course, Lita's recipe was secret, but what if we could use this to our advantage? I spoke to her about selling the soup to all these dudes having trouble getting it up. At first, she called me crazy, but when I showed her all the messages, she soon came around to the idea. Dad helped with the packaging, and Aisha was in charge of branding. The face of Soup No. 5? Yours truly, Hard On Harry. Who's the joke now, huh?
Did you like this story? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Dear Diary as we post new stories every week.